Boker Tov, good morning. Wonderful to be here together this morning and to see you coming in. Good morning and welcome to the last day of Tishrei. Today is the 30th day of the month of Tishrei, just as on our solar calendar, we start a new month of November today. In our Jewish calendar, we conclude the festive month of Tishrei, and we move into the month of Cheshvan. And it's good to be here with you today. And thank you, Joni, for your greeting this morning, and to one and to all. We say Boker Tov, Boker O. Welcome to Boker Tov from Temple Sinai. Temple Sinai Congregation of Toronto's daily opportunity to connect, to reflect, and to remember. And so this morning, as we gather here, it's nice to be here with you, Eleanor and Sulang and Seymour, and all of you, as we start our day with the traditions of our people. Good morning, Sandra. And to all, let's join together in these words of prayer. Let's join in the English of our prayer for the body, and we'll follow with the Hebrew and English of our prayer for the soul. Blessed eternal God, creator of the universe, you have fashioned our bodies with wisdom, creating within us a finely balanced network. To stand before you in prayer is itself a fragile miracle. Eternal God, we praise you as the healer of body and spirit. And of course, a reminder that the neshama, the essential Hebrew word for the soul, although there all are also the words nefesh, which really means that vital life force within, and ruach, just to make it easier to understand, which is in the last line of this blessing, which means spirit. The neshama in Jewish teaching is considered to be the deepest part of that spiritual element of us, and yet indistinguishable from our physical self, as neshama comes from the Hebrew linshom, to breathe. And that's why I think the rabbis wrote the prayer about the soul with this series of words that have a hey with a mapik, with a dot in the end, and the mapik meaning send it out, that we release the breath when we get to each of those words that ends with a hey with a dot in it. But it's only that letter that functions that way. Eloi neshama shenatata bi Torah hi, etavrata, tayitzalta, etanefachta bi, vatamshamra b'kirbi, kol zman shahanshama b'kirbi, modeh ani lefanecha. Adonai Eloi v'Eloi Avotai, Rebon kol ha'ma'asim, Adon kol ha'neshamot. Baruch atah Adonai, asher be'adon nefesh kol chai, v'ruach kol basar ish. The soul that you have given me, O God, is a pure one. You have created and formed it, breathed it into me, and within me you sustain it. So long as my soul is within me, I will give thanks to you, eternal my God and God of my ancestors, source of all creation, sovereign of all souls. We praise you, eternal God, in whose hand is the power of all life and the spirit of all flesh. And we continue as we get ready for Shabbat on this sixth day of the week with Lasok B'divrei Torah, this bracha that calls upon us to express our gratitude, our commitment, our connection to and for Torah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. V'arevna Adonai Eloheinu et divrei Toratcha b'finu ובפי עמך בית ישראל, ונהיה אנחנו וצאצאינו, וצאצאי עמך בית ישראל, כולנו יודעי שמך, ולומדי תורתך לשמה. ברוך אתה אדוני, המלמד תורה לעמו ישראל. Elu dvarim shein lahem shi'ur. These are the obligations whose value cannot be measured. They nourish us in this world and help us to create the world to come. Kibud Avayim, to honor fathers and mothers. Ugmilut Chasadim, to perform acts of love and kindness. Vashkamat Bet Midrash Shacharit Ve'arvit, to attend the house of study morning and evening. Vachnasat Ochim, to welcome the stranger. Uviku Cholim, to visit the sick. Vahachnasat Kala, to provide for brides and grooms. Udavayat Hamed, to keep faith with the dead. V'yun tefillah, to pray with sincerity. V'hava'at shalom ben adam l'chavero, to make peace when there is strife. V'talmud Torah keneged kulam, and the study of Torah is equal to them all. Let's continue this morning with our birchot hashachar, with our blessings of the dawn of the morning, said as the light breaks on a new day. As we take the time to see this day clearly, to see what is brand new, all of the blessings that are new to us and renewed each day, and to see what is not new. As we'll recite the first blessing in half Hebrew, half English, and the second one in Hebrew, and continue alternating, except for the blessing, Matir Asurim, for releasing the captives, which painfully is not new today. And so we will just recite that blessing both ways and then go back to the rhythm we had established for alternation. Can we do it? I believe we can. It's early in the morning. Saying the blessings anyway is good, so please join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. You have given the rooster the natural wisdom to distinguish day from night. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzalmenu kidmutenu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. You have given me free will. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. You have helped me provide for my needs. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. You clothe the naked. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim. And again, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. You release those who are held captive, half and half. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. You help those who are bowed to stand straight. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, roka haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. You guide each person's steps. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael b'gvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. You crown Israel with glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten liya'ev koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. You remove sleep from my eyes and weariness from my eyelids. Well, today is a day on the Jewish calendar that we recognize it being very literally the 30th day of Tishrei as the last day of the old month, whereas many who observe keep 2 days of Rosh Chodesh, 2 days of the first day of the new month, that being the 30th, because not every month has a 30th day in the lunar calendar, or even consistently so. And the first day of the new month is marked, of course, as Rosh Chodesh, but as interestingly enough, is its second day. In traditional Jewish texts, it marks that the first day of the new month is the essential day of Rosh Chodesh. And that's why we, in our way of thinking, that more focus and less repetition brings more significance. That's why tomorrow for us is Shabbat Rosh Chodesh, and today is not. So we don't sing, but it's okay. We're going to have a double dose of singing and music tomorrow, having a very special Hallel musical celebration in our service. Please, if you were sort of half on and half off between coming in person and joining us online tomorrow, while it will be online, it'll be really wonderful to experience in person. Let's join together now in reciting Shema Yisrael together. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha. Ve'ayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavcha hayom al levavecha ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך, ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ויעשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטו אחרי לבבכם, ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת. Well, as we look out at the world on this Friday, just allow me to leave this essential prayer on the screen for a moment for us together as a reminder that what Shema calls upon us to do is not only to look at our world through the eyes of Jewish tradition and love of the eternal God, but it also it mentions within it all the different ways that we have historically been visible as Jewish people. So yes, it does say everywhere we go, when we lie down and when we rise up, and in the way we raise the next generation, we need to have our connection to God and the love of the divine and the divine in this world. The connections, the spirit of God in this world that animates it, that all of that should be part of our worldview. But it does say in the last 3 lines of Hebrew, the first paragraph, Shaltem laot al yadecha, that the words should be bound as a sign. That always implies a visible sign on our hand, and as really a guide, a lens, a frontlets is the usual translation. Not sure what that is. Between our eyes, but it really means it's what became expressed as tefillin, something that Jews in earlier times wore throughout the day because they were identifiable in that way as Jewish people, but not that way. It also says in the last line, write these words on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. The tradition that's become the mezuzah, but says, here you are, identified outwardly, visibly as a Jewish person. And while tefillin has been something, of course, that only in modern times do women consistently lay tefillin, and even all those Jews who do so while praying, not throughout the day. That we have in this last paragraph, while it has the basic ethos of the Jewish people, that we have to remember the commandments in the context of remembering that God took us out of Egypt. That at that same time, this paragraph is a paragraph of mitzvah, of fringes. that fringes that some Jewish people wear all the time, that others wear when they pray, to remind us, not just at those moments, but at all moments again, to have it be outwardly obvious that we are in a covenant with the Eternal One, not necessarily only by ritual ways. This paragraph is interested in that being recognizable. Lo tatu achei lebavchem ve'achei einechem, that we should not, in the kind of middle line of the Hebrew, 6 lines up from the bottom, that we should not turn aside just after what's in our heart or what's seen by our eyes, but we have to remember the covenant, the deep ethical moorings of our life as well as the ritual ones. And so the Shema is very much about hearing the eternal and bearing witness, but doing so visibly. And I say so uh, because I think that it is so essential to recognize that we're living right now in a time where, again, people are allowed to create a price for us visibly recognizing ourselves and who we are. And I appreciate your question in the chat. I'm guessing it's jokingly asking if I was a ghostwriter of the editorial in the Globe, but I'm certainly not. But sadly, we see this in our public life. We see it in public life overseas. I read an article in the Jewish community's main paper, the JC for the UK, for England. Likewise, about being that right now it's hard to be recognized as a Jewish person, and that the filth, as Anglican priest Michael Corin describes it, of anti-Semitism is present everywhere. And we need to be able to be who we are. And a lot of that anti-Semitism is in these painful double standards. It's been a difficult week for me watching what happens in Israel. Of course, the main reason is the ongoing death and destruction of the war forced on Israel, both for Israeli families and for all who are terribly affected by this, including Palestinians. A faction, a terrorist faction of who cares not for the average Palestinian, who has created this circumstance and created this horrible conflict. But in a secondary way, also looking at what's been going on in Israel socially, where there have been just terrible statements by Israeli government officials, including a desire to for the government to take action against Haaretz, an Israeli newspaper that I pretty much can't read anymore because I regard it as too far to the left, having lost the story. But of course, I value that it's there in the first place because Israel is a place with a vigorous free press and a free society, and that the government is reacting badly to that because it's a very far-right government for Israel, is not something that should in any way be held against Jewish people as if there's some unique crime being carried out by Israel and Zionism, when this is a wrestling match that's taking place in absolutely every single democratic country on the planet on some level, including our beloved Canada. And painfully, obviously, because it's in the last throes of this election in the United States as well. When I look out, I see a constant double standard against our people, against the nation state of the Jewish people. And it is a time for us to stand up courageously, and while maintaining, obviously, our own physical safety, also being who we are and not allowing people around us to have their anti-Semitism unrecognized. We need our society as a whole to stand up to it. as this is a kind of a poison that, while directed at Jews, affects the very basis and heart of a free society. As I said, so much to look out and see this morning, and it pains me to see what is going on and the ongoing list of lost Israeli soldiers. And so let's join in the prayer for the IDF, for all those who must take these horrendous risks and live with the consequences of the orders they are given in order to fight the terrorists who, funded by Iran, surround Israel. So in this painful, complex situation, let's join in prayer for them. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב ואמותינו שרה רבקה לאה ורחל, הוא יברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל ושאר מגיני עמנו העומדים על משמרתם. ישמרם הקדוש ברוך הוא ויצילם מכל צרה וצוקה מכל נגע ומחלה, וישלח ברכה בכל מעשה ידיהם, ויקוים בהם הכתוב. וכיתתוך אבותיהם לעתים, וחניתותיהם למזמרות, לא יישאו גוי לגוי חרב, ולא ילמדון עוד מלחמה, וישבו איש תחת גפנו ותחת תאנתו, ואין מחריד ונאמר, Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless the soldiers of the IDF and all who stand on guard for us. May the Holy One guard them against all difficulty and distress, injury, and illness. May all of their actions bring blessing, fulfilling the prophet's words. Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Let nation not lift up sword against nation, and may they learn war no more. May all sit under a vine or fig tree, with none to make them afraid. And together we say, Amen. And having recited our prayer for the soldiers of the IDF, we continue with our prayer for all those who in need of healing. Obviously, in our Boker Tov version this morning, that includes those forcibly isolated, the hostages and their families. May each of us and may God be with them. And very viscerally and physically, those in our circle of friends who are ill or unwell, who are striving to rehabilitate, or dealing with difficult illness and stages of life. For each of them, for the names given to me and given to Temple, the names placed in our chat this morning, and at other times, we join in these words of refuah. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב ואמותינו שרה רבקה לאה ורחל, הוא ירפא את כל מכותינו. יהי רצון מלפניך אדוני אלוהינו, לחל עמם ולרפאותם, וישלח לנו מהרה רפואה שלמה ועטרת שלום, ונאמר Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless and heal all who suffer. May it be the divine will to provide healing and strength. Reveal to us the holiness of life, the wholeness of shalom, and let us say together, Amen. Well, it's very meaningful for us to have this time to connect and reflect. And so we also take time to remember, recalling those who died in recent days and weeks, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have taken into our hearts with our own. During the last 30 days, we extend our condolences to the families of Alan Bly, Jay Lewis, Ernie Rovette, Jerry Schmelnitsky, Nancy Draper, Phyllis Zeltzer, John Montague. And we also remember all victims of war and terror, including terror victims, Ilya Nuzadze, Inbal Segev-Vigdel, Jonas Krosis, Kalmi Hassan, Mina Hassan, Mohammed Naim, Nadia Sokolenko, Omer Weinstein, Revital Bronstein, Shachar Goldman, Victor Shimshon Goin, and we recognize all those IDF personnel, far too many, whose lives have been lost in the last 30 days. Barak Yisrael Sagan, Eitan Yitzchak Oster, Elad Simantov, Ariel Ettinger, Itai Ariel Gyat, Tal Dror, Alon Safrai, Amit Chai, Avram Yosef Goldberg, Yonatan Yoni Keren, Aviv Magen, Esan Daksa, Salman Habaka, Ofek Bachar, and Aviram Hariv, Dan Maori, Eliav Amram Abitbol, Nathaniel Hershkovitz, Itai Azulai, Ori Moshe Borenstein, Sarah Eliad Navalsky, Shlomo Aviad Naiman, Tom Segel, Adir Kadosh, Alon Amitai, Daniel Aviv Chaim Sofer, Elisha Young, Hillel Ovadia, Ido Ben Tzvi, Cohen Bitan, Omri Tamari, Sherachai Suslik, Yoav Agmon, Yosef Hib, Guy Ben Charush, Nazar Itkin, Nir Hadad, Noam Barzilai, Or Mansour, Shuvael Ben Natan, Mordechai Chaim Amrial, Shaul Moyal, Shmuel Harari, Alma Ken Terefe, Aviv Gilboa, Eliashiv Etan Vider, Ido Breuer, Itai Fogel, Malachi Yehuda Harari, Naor Chaimov, Nissim Metal, Noam Yisrael Abdu, Ofer Berkovitz, Tzvi Matadeo Marantz, Yaakov Hillel, Yehuda Dor, Yishai Man, Guy Idan, Omri Lotan. And on yahrzeit today, on the anniversary of their deaths, on this 30th day of the month of Tishrei, the last day of this month, we remember Celia Bookman, Paul Budish, Julius Kaplan, Julie, Isidore Epstein, Betty Foreman, Hazel Garber, Harry Lieberbaum, Fern Mednick, Israel Rosenblatt, Elliot Siegel, Henrietta Silverman, Louis Wolfson. Zichronam Levracha, may their memories be a blessing to us. Our griefs and our sympathies are mingled as we turn together to words sanctified by memory, words glorified by hope, turning together to the Kaddish Yatom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemeh rabba, be'alma divra chiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon uvyamechon, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב עמו, אמן. יהא שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמה ועמו, אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועמו, אמן. עושה שלום במומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועמו, amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and bring comfort and strength to all who remember, and together we say, amen. Boker Tov. Again, very special Shabbat morning service tomorrow with beautiful additional celebratory music. And the following Saturday morning, which is also happens to fall on the date of Kristallnacht, and we'll be observing that, but also hearing from the Solicitor General of Ontario, MPP Michael Kerzner, about the reality of anti-Semitism in our community and what our government can or should be doing about it. And please do join us. But first, make today a beautiful day. Boker Tov.